Hello, everybody. This is Bill with Marty and Mike Rafferty from Adepticon, and we are going to talk to you guys today about what is going on in the realm of historical wargaming at this year's Adepticon 2023. Marty, how you doing?
I am well, super excited to be here. Glad that Mike was able to join us and, at least join us on audio.
All right. Mike, welcome to the stream. We're happy to have you and ready to hear all the good and fun, exciting things you have this year.
No, I'm happy to be here. It's funny part is like up until last year, I'd never been on a podcast for everything, and it's really fun to come on these, talk to people, and share our different experiences.
Awesome.
Yeah,
So, for
100%.
everybody joining us in the world of the interweb, if you have any questions for Mike, please post them in the comments, and we will
Tough
get
year's
to
already on it.
answering reactions.
Uh,
And look who's there!
It's not me this time, Tough years. Yet. Show's not over.
All right. Marty, you want to
just
kick
what
us
I get
off?
for not testing my equipment ahead of time. Yeah, okay, I give up. We're just gonna be on audio.
As you wish, sir. As you wish. Well, I'm here to tell you that I am super excited. Last year was kind of the return of Adepticon coming out of the pandemic, and you guys did a fantastic job. One overall as a convention, and two, bringing the historicals together. I know that there were some people that are upset that oh, it's over at the Hyatt. We're not in the main hall. But as it turns out, it's got to go somewhere, and there's just not enough space at the Renaissance anymore. So, I think that you guys had a pretty good setup over there last year. So I'm looking forward to hearing what this year's going to look like.
And I appreciate that statement. And I've been running historicals now. I mean, this will be year 2, and I've been around the historical community, at least running games or with Adepticon now for going on a decade. And it's always been an issue of space. At the Westin, it was incredibly heavy on space. We go to the Schaumburg and we're like, oh, okay, we're never going to fill this up. We have tons of space. And now,
And then
we have Greg and Matt out there with tape measures. Like, okay, we can fit 4 more inches of space here and 1 more table here. So, especially coming into the post-COVID one, we don't know what anything's going to be like. Are we going to have, distancing requirements? Uh, how many people we can have in their requirements? What are we going to have? So we've been working with the Hyatt for a while. It's been one of our extra hotels. And if you've ever been to Adepticon, there's always trouble parking. So having extra parking spaces is never a bad thing.
yeah, and they've got plenty of it over there.
Yeah. So it's sort of well, hey, if we're already going to have people parking here, we already have people staying here. Why not use their ballrooms and stuff too and have some events? And in my mind, if you're going to move some events, you want to try to move as many total systems as possible. You don't want to mix and match. Like, okay, well, 140K tournament's going to be over here, one's going to be over here. Combat Patrol for bold action will be here, but team will be here. You want to move everything. So that way, if you want to come and play historicals, hey, I'll just stay at the Hyatt.
Right.
So, that kind of go into a little bit of our logic behind why are we doing that? What are we doing? The other thing is, talking about this year, we have about half the historical events have a wait list right now, which compared to last year, I mean, it's a huge increase. Like, people want to play historical games. I know I took my event games and increased attendance basically as far as I have models or the scenario will allow. I can't just make up divisions for you to run on Gettysburg Day 2, but I can at least divide out stuff so we can get more people playing and players aren't running as large of formations.
Sure.
So, it's definitely one of those I encourage any other, GM, hey, if you can include more people, let's include more people. People want to play this stuff. And then, it's good to look in for next year.
Yeah, how about it? So on that note, I remember last year you guys had a whole tank parking lot that you were trying to get painted up. What's it look like this year?
So this year we well, okay, I still have insane crazy ideas, but I got some really interesting plan for 2024. But this year we went a little bit smaller scale, but we went with some themes. So what I wanted to start doing, and going forward, we'll start seeing more of this, but on Friday, we're having Guadalcanal Day. So we're going to do a Blood Red Skies aerial battle themed around, some wildcats trying to stop a Japanese bombing raid on Guadalcanal. We're going to fight the Second Naval Battle of Guadalcanal, Washington, South Dakota versus Hiroshima. And then we're going to do a bold action game. After those two games, we're going to do a bold action game. Just, a 1,400 on 1,400 point 4-player game. Nothing too crazy, but just kind of one of the skirmishes that happened around then. And then depending on how the first two games went, a side might get a bombardment or an airstrike or, something small, but that way everything's sort of linked together and there's a common theme between the games.
Nice.
That's one of the events. The other event, we are running Day 2 of Gettysburg, and that's using Warlords Epic ACW. That's been my tank parking lot painting of the year. I'm doing the whole Union side. My buddy's doing the 3 Confederate divisions involved.
So when you say the whole Union side, and you're doing this in 6 mil, how many little dudes does that work out to be?
So I have 63 infantry stands at 20 dudes a pop. So was that
a lot?
Yeah. Now, Union side, I'm doing the entire 3rd Corps, the entire 5th Corps, 2/3 of 2nd Corps, because that's what was roughly involved.
Right.
So I still have a decent amount to do to finish the Union Army at Gettysburg, but that's kind of our premier event this year. I have another friend of mine who's building the terrain board, and he's got some map books that we picked up at Gettysburg last summer to, try to make this realistic as possible. We're running that on Sunday. That one, talking about wait list, we did a 6-player game. Basically, the Union players would run a corps because they're a little bit smaller in terms of total stands and units, and each Confederate player would have division. We had 16 people on our wait list.
Wow. Yeah, that's a lot of interest. Good deal.
I expanded it up to 11 people with the intention that, okay, now every Union player can run a division. Someone can just play the artillery reserve. We'll see who all shows up. I was trying to count on my toes beforehand. That's why I was pausing.
Tuffy Years is our comedic relief. Yeah, she's and she loves me in particular.
Well, there.
And well, you should, Tuffy Years. And by the way, I'm not wearing shoes, so.
Yeah. So, Mike, what competitive systems or games are you guys doing this year?
So we got some
tournaments.
Absolutely. So Andrew is running the Bold Action Comp Patrol and Team Tournament again. Those sold out very quickly. We're excited to have him come back and run those. John Russell from Warlord is running a Conflict 47 and Korea tournament. And he is a blast to work with. He is incredibly helpful. It's something interesting. I know this is a competitive, but his combined arms, the Warlord's combined arms system, they're going to be running a campaign for that throughout the whole weekend. So they're going to have 5 tables set up, and it'll just be, hey, you want to come play a game and participate in it? Come play a game. And I'm really curious to see how that's going to work out. And it's something that we can. I think they're going to be posting results online as it goes through. So it's a nice harbinger of what else we can do with some partnerships down the road. Battlefront is back. They're doing Team Yankee Nationals as a 2-day event and Mid-War Nationals as a 1-day, and they're using the new dynamic points for Mid-War, which I think is pretty interesting. It's nice. Like, Games Workshop does have the good idea of, hey, every year, or in Games Workshop case, every couple months, here's some update, as we see in competitive space, this is undercosted, this is overcosted. Right. It's nice to have some updates with that to try to get some level of balance. I know Ferdinand's jumped up in cost, and the way they're portrayed anymore in Flames of War, you think the Germans would have made thousands of them. So it's good to see that they're adapting. Firelock's going to have some events this year across all their systems.
So they're doing. I know that they're going to do Oak and Iron and Blood and Plunder.
Yep, and there's a Blood and Valor one as well.
Okay, good deal. Nice.
And then we have a Blood Red Skies tournament run by our buddies at Lead Pursuit.
I was going to say Lead Pursuit. I've heard them talking that up. They seem pretty jazzed.
They're good guys. I really enjoyed our partnership with them, and chatting with them. It's been a partnership between our group and them. We're running a MIG Alley game on Thursday. As we saw, hey, we need some more historical events. We kind of looked into what stuff do I have ready to go. So, Blood Red Skies is easy to paint. It's kind of fun to paint, especially when you're painting hundreds and hundreds of look-alike Union guys. So, we're running a MIG Alley game, and we're also, I look at like the 40K friendly or Battletech grinders. I was trying to think, okay, what's something fun we can do where people just hang out, have a drink, and move some models around and talk some crap to each other. So we're doing a fur ball one night, just Blood Red Skies, show up, shoot stuff down, have fun, drink with us. So, kind of excited to see how that's going to go as well.
Nice.
So Mike, if you had to choose one event as your premier event to showcase Adepticon historicals, what would you suggest it to be?
So I'm going to selfishly say my Gettysburg game, but in realistically,
it's me, of course.
Yeah, obviously it's anything I touch, but no,
it's all gold.
It's hard to say because there are a lot of different events. Like, Lord America is running a whole bunch of Too Fat Lardies games over Friday and Saturday, which I'm incredibly happy because they've expanded an entire day this year. I'd actually say, because I feel like Adepticon, while we do have a lot of event games, it is sort of at its core, or at least originally was a competitive style, event. I would probably say the Bolt Action team, because if you look, 40K team is the lead 40K event. Age of Sigmar team, lead event. So, well, we should have a team event as our lead event as well. Like I said, Andrew does a phenomenal job with that.
Nice.
Gotcha.
So are you going to have, do you know if anybody's going to be doing Circus Maximus this year?
I don't
for several
think
years,
so.
especially when you're over at the West, and somebody brought in, I don't remember what scale it was, but basically Circus Maximus, and you raced and bet, and it was a really great time.
I mean, I'm willing to wear a purple toga and yell stuff in Latin at people, but I do not have the models do that. At the same time, thanks for bringing that up, because I know one thing I want to do this year is I'm going to do some surveys from the competitive side and from the event side, seeing what fills up, what doesn't fill up. I want to get sort of a pulse of what do you, the attendees, want to see next year? How can I tailor what, because obviously a certain level of, well, this is what I want to do. Well, what do you want to see? How can we meet in the middle on that?
Right.
Sure. So I know that there's been a lot of I guess you'd say innovation since 2019, because 2020 and 2021 didn't happen. 2022 last year, everybody's trying to get back on their feet, and I think Adepticon as a whole and the historicals specifically, we're able to deliver there. But now it looks like you're kind of leaning forward into the future.
Yeah.
Trying to determine what it is. So anything that you can share there. I mean, obviously, one, we would always appreciate an exclusive, but no spoiler alerts if that does, if there's something that you're ready to reveal. But what are your thoughts on where this is going?
I will say there's, I guess, one thing I don't necessarily know how much I have talked about this before, but I am intending to have an open gaming area this year. I've been working with the Housemen to provide terrain for open gaming at the Marriott. So it's something I wanted to kind of expand a little bit, have an area where people can come play board games or have terrain set up to play miniature games. Another thing, I did talk about this on Lead Pursuit, but I can expand a little bit more on that. We are going to have 2 vendors over there this year.
Oh, that was on my list of things to ask. I heard there might be some action there.
So I got confirmation. Warlord has set up a satellite booth, and so is Firelock.
Oh, very nice.
So to me, I it's not one of those I want to go say, oh yeah, let's get 10 vendors in here. Let's try these 2. Let's see how they work. I think they're very keyed into the community that's over there. So it's going to help out, especially, if you're playing Bold Action, and you got an hour lunch, you don't want to drive over to the Marriott. You'll go on your day off and you have some time, but you can grab something real quick there. Same with Firelock.
Right.
Very nice.
So for those
very
who
nice.
aren't familiar with the area, how far apart are the two sites?
If it wasn't for the highway in the middle, you could walk, but
Yeah.
there's a fairly major highway in the middle.
Yeah.
Try not to jump over that. It's not good for Frogger, but it's like a 5-minute drive if you're driving. Now, at the same time last year, we had one paid for shuttle and then the Hyatt shuttle. And then there's a
Mm.
Schaumburg trolley that has a loop that hits a bunch of different locations. Great if you're going to the mall. Maybe not say the best thing in the world if you want to go to the Marriott, but if it's there, take it. It's a free trolley. But
Sure.
we identified that shuttle transportation was lacking. So we've upped it now to there'll be at the minimum 2 paid shuttles. And on Friday and Saturday, there'll be 3 paid shuttles.
Oh, there you go.
Nice.
That
So, and that's on top
oughta
of the
help
Hyatt
things a
one.
little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, because even though it's a short drive, parking over at the Renaissance, particularly during the busy hours, can
Yes.
be a challenge.
And, we did talk to them. They're working on some extra parking. They've been picking up some of the unused areas around there. And they're about 85% they're going to have extra parking this year at the Marriott. Obviously, it's a government construction program, so you know how that goes and just construction programs
Yeah.
in general.
Right.
But we were just up there last weekend. They were saying about 85%. So we're hoping that at least somewhat alleviates this. And long term, there is a parking garage they're building.
Oh,
Okay.
all right, good deal.
So for somebody who's never been to Adepticon before, and they're especially interested in historicals, how many events are you offering over the, theoretically, it's 4 point something days because it's Wednesday night, but it's full game Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So, because a lot of people who are, especially over in England and the UK, they go to Salute, which is a 1 day event from 10 to 6. So for them, the only thing they have sort of equivalent is UK Games Expo. A lot of their gaming conventions really last 1 day. So for somebody coming to the US for their very first Adepticon, how many offerings does the historical section offer over that time period, roughly?
We got around 60. I was just counting it.
Okay. Uh-huh.
And yeah, you are right that Adepticon's sort of a 4.5 day convention or 4.25. We don't really do anything on Wednesday yet.
Mhm.
And that's something we might want to look into expanding next year. I know from an organizer standpoint, Wednesday's a very busy day for us. And a lot of that just comes down to reg. And if you look at the Marriott, most of those events are the GW preview. There's a 40K tactics class. It's sort of like, yeah, here's stuff where you can just kind of like hang out and do stuff and the classes start.
Right.
Um,
Yep.
Yeah,
and
Wednesday's usually the lead up to full gaming starting Thursday.
correct.
Yeah.
And you talk about Salute. I love looking at the pictures from Salute because there's people that do just these amazing game boards and everything. But
Mhm.
I do not understand. Yeah, we're here for 6 hours.
Yeah, they
Well,
got to load
you
in
got to
the morning.
remember, Salute is more of a what they call a market day, a shopping day.
Now,
While they have some demo games and participation games in the aisles, it's mostly vendors.
no,
And hundreds of vendors. I can't remember what last time I was there. I want to say there was probably 200, maybe
Uh,
200 vendors,
easy,
and
easy.
people line up and they just go crazy shopping. That's really, they come in, they shop, and then they and hang out for a while, and then they go home. It's literally a shopping day for them. It's like miniature wargaming Christmas.
sure. I just said it's a different view on things. And,
Yeah,
my thought is
it
always,
most
hey, if
definitely is.
that's what you like, do it. It's
Yeah,
fun.
yeah.
So
So, but yeah, I mean, Salute is amazing, but Adepticon really, the heart of Adepticon is getting to play the games.
Yes.
Whatever game you're interested in, and we'll stick to the historical side because Adepticon offers just about anything miniature based. On historical, if there's pretty much any historical that you're interested in, they will have it. And if they don't, and you have the desire to run it, you would reach out to somebody to say, as Mike, and say, hey, I have this, I would like to run it. How can I do this? And then you plan it for the next year. So,
That's correct. I don't think I've turned away a single person that's wanted to run something.
right.
And especially if you come to me with like an idea of something, we can work together to make sure it gets placed in a time to get the maximum amount of attendance for it. Like, I'll shout out Steve Fretz right now. He runs a Gettysburg game using his own rule set called A Small Deadly Space. He's also running day 2 of Gettysburg, and we did this completely independently of each other.
Okay.
And he messaged me. He's like, "Hey, I'm going to sign up for it." And I was like, "Oh, that's cool. I'm running mine." And I was going to initially run mine on Saturday, but there's a lot of events on Saturday that weren't a ton on Sunday, so I moved it to Sunday. And I mentioned to him, like, "Hey, I'm doing mine on Sunday." He's like, "Okay, cool. I'll just run mine Friday and Saturday, so that way we're not competing for the same audience."
There you go.
And then we can compare results of like, okay, well, how did your players do and how did my players do? So kind of fun.
Right.
And he's got an interesting rule set. He gave me a quick demo of it last year, and it's one that if I can find the time, I'm going to at least sit in on. But it's, I like homebrew rule sets. At the same time, I feel like the mainstream ones are more accessible to, like you talk about someone just walking into historicals. Well, you want to try Warlord or Battlefront or something like that's got a large company back into it. And I feel as you are in the historical community and you play more, then you start playing around with the more esoteric and homebrew stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
Yeah, that's
yeah, and it seems to be a pretty good rule set.
Yes.
Chris actually bought it. He bought the first one. He hasn't played it yet, but he's bought it.
He was very nice and gave me a copy of it last year. And then actually offered to come out here and run some games for us. We just weren't able to get the schedule worked up. But it's the thing I appreciate is he's a professor. He's incredibly knowledgeable in the Civil War. He's done reenacting. So his rules are very much based on this is what I've observed in my time with, the Civil War and my learning and my experience. This is how I base the rules. So I can appreciate that.
Sure. We were just talking about, Wednesday night is kind of the preview to gaming. There's a lot of setup as far as, GW does its reveals, and then there's classes and whatnot. So is there any specific meet and greets, meetups, gatherings, any of that stuff on the historical side this year?
Not
Anything going on
really.
there?
You bring that up, and it might be something I want to discuss with Warlord and Battlefront of can we get them to maybe do a preview thing? I
that'd
don't
be
think
nice.
we can on the same scale, but it's definitely a point of it's something to look at for the future of what can we do. As for anything scheduled, there really isn't. And my thought behind that is more people be going over to the Marriott to get their badges, maybe walking around there a bit. So it's sort of they're gonna be occupied.
Cocktails with John Russell and the crew. Let's do this.
Yeah, right.
Well, we can always reach out to John Stoddard and say, hey, let's do a preview night. All those guys are old GW guys, so they love to do anything to compete against them. So,
I have no problem with that. We can try to figure something out there. And, it's one of those, like I said, I want to see what the people, the attendees, what they want so we can start giving that to them. It's one of those, we're in year 2. I'm kind of going with the mentality of, okay, we've got our proof of concept last year that this can work. Now we're adding some vendors, we're adding open gaming. Let's get that down. That's working. Okay, we'll add some more stuff for year 3. Like something, it's a little pet project of mine I've been trying to do is I want to have like a painting area, kind of like they do over at the Marriott. I don't know what I'm going to call it yet or anything, but I think that will help add to the community and really make this more like this is Adepticon just in a different venue, not its own tournament or event.
Right.
Well, and I think maybe one of the hobby class challenges, I guess I'll call it, is that whilst there's a ton of hobby classes, tons of them, which is awesome. But as far as stuff that is specific to historicals, I don't think anyone leans into that in their class. Now, I get it. Historical's kind of a niche within a niche of the hobby. But if you had somebody that was willing to do some historical classes, maybe do that over there as well, and then throw everyone out in the paint area, say, go do what you just learned.
Right. And I think that's a good idea. And, it's something that myself and my team have been discussing. And there's a few painters that we have in mind that we wouldn't mind teaching classes. It's just logistics of, getting them over here and getting everything going. That's going to be more of a year 3 thing. But, and the other downside is the Hyatt has great event spaces. It doesn't have all the small breakout rooms like the Marriott does. We have one breakout room.
Yeah.
So it's there's another one. It's like, yeah, we could divide that out, but I also have Saga in there this year, and they probably don't want me kicking them out midday for a painting class.
True that.
Yeah, I want them to run their own thing. So I would like to see painting class over there. My intention is year 3 to have some, but there's some logistical stuff that we have to do in the meantime.
Gotcha. So you just mentioned Saga. Is that new to Historicals? Was that there last year?
It was in the main hall.
So-
Yeah, Saga's always been the Grand National. Don't you have the Grand Nationals?
Yeah, the Grand Melee.
Yep.
But I mean, it not new to Adepticon, but new to coming over to the Hyatt.
No, they were over there last year.
Were they? Okay, I
Yeah,
missed them, but
yeah, they were in the main hall, and I don't know if they did anything on Sunday. I can't remember off the top of my head, but we basically moved every historical event over there.
right.
But the only thing that was still at the Marriott would be like the Wargaming company runs their demos in their booth. They
Sure,
stayed
yeah.
over there.
Makes sense. So, just because I'm thinking that, and you kind of already hit it, but I just wanted to circle back. What do we have that's new this year that, first time over there at the Hyatt or first time ever with a Adepticon?
So something I've noticed, there is an Art de la Guerre tournament, which is a rule set. I tried a Historicon a few years back, and then I asked to buy the rules, and the guy was like, well, the rules are kind of hard to get and all this stuff, but it's exciting to see some new events. I would say probably the big thing that's over here that's new for this year is we're welcoming Lord of the Rings and Song of Ice and Fire.
What?
Yep. They're going to be
Wow.
in the Sienna rooms, kind of the dungeon where I was last year.
Yep.
And that's why I told him, it's like, I call it the dungeon, but I ran all my games down there. It's a really nice space.
I was gonna say it's a nice big space, and there's plenty of room to run it.
So at the moment, I'm calling it the Mines of Moria, and I was hoping I could get like some nice setup stuff, and we're talking every once in a while we might paint ourselves green and run in there and do Goblin Rage. We'll see how the weekend goes and how drunk I get. But
well, stay away from that orc. Wow, whatever that dude is upstairs.
No. We're this is historical style orc raids.
Yeah.
But
Just saying that guy calls dibs, and I feel the AK Interactive guys are set up next to them every year, and I'm like, how do you tune that out?
Yeah. I was actually just working on a sponsorship list for them last night. I just started using AK Interactive paints this year, specifically to paint like 1940s Luftwaffe ME-109s, and they are fantastic. They had, no joke, the best yellow I've ever painted with, because it coats almost in one coat. Two is better, but almost in one.
Yeah, yellow's a hard color too.
It is. So now I'm painting some Baratheon for A Song of Ice and Fire, and yellow is their main color. Yellow with a black stag on it.
I just won the weathering pencil set at a tournament raffle. I didn't win a game.
Sure.
But a couple of weeks ago. So
Hey, I went to
I like the pencils.
Andrew ran a bolt action tank war tournament back in November up in Michigan, and it's the first tournament I've been to since 2016, and I won a game, so I'm pretty happy with myself. Just one of 3, but I'll take it.
Right? Good time. But, hey, the big point is you got to play. That's what this community's all about.
I built
to play your games.
I built a whole new army for it. It was a lot of fun. John Russell helped me out with that, so it was nice of him. And yeah, it was a really good time. Andrew gave me some beers for round 2, which just made life better, and everything was good.
Well, drown your sorrows a little bit, and you get to play, and again, it's all about having a good time playing the games.
Well, and I feel like if you go into a tournament, there is the competitive thing, and my thought on gaming is, as long as you're having fun and you're not ruining someone else's fun, there's no wrong way to do gaming. If you want to come and be competitive and try to win, that's totally fine, as long as you're not a jerk. At the same time, if you just want to come and have fun and play some games, well, as long as you're not being a jerk, who cares?
Yeah. And enjoy the experience.
Exactly. It's just, I would say, if you're going to a tournament and you're not bringing a competitive list, understand you might not do
re-
terribly well.
Yeah, get ready for that.
Set your expectations appropriately.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Awesome.
So for a new person coming over their first time for historicals, you spoke of there's World War II, some moderns with Team Yankee, some Blood and Valor for World War One, some
Yep.
Saga for the Dark Ages. What other eras or time periods will be gaming there?
We'll have Civil War, obviously, so a little bit more into Black Powder
Mhm.
Age. There's kind of a gap between we don't really have a ton of the medieval outside of, I think, Saga goes up to the Crusades.
Yeah.
So we have a little bit of a gap there. We don't really have it. Actually, shockingly, we have nothing Napoleonic.
Really?
And that's normal, and that is normally the go-to.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Yeah.
now that's kind of interesting. Yeah, because that's a
Oh,
big
you
deal.
know what? I'm gonna take that back. This is my bad. I was kind of just running through the games. Lord America, like I said, they're running a whole bunch of games. Sharp's Practice, What a Tanker, Chain of Command.
Mhm.
They're gonna have
Okay.
Infamy. So that's a Romans and Gauls. And they're gonna have Napoleonics.
Oh,
Okay.
good.
In a more
All right.
skirmish level. So that's my bad. Hopefully they're not listening right now yelling at me. They're also going to have Rourke's Drift, which is exciting.
Yeah, I was going to just ask, who's doing Rourke's Drift?
Oh, Bill,
Well,
your
there's
favorite.
certain things that should be at a gaming convention. We need a Napoleonic game. We probably need a Civil War, if not Gettysburg, and we need Rourke's Drift.
Most definitely.
Yeah, we're fans of Rourke's Drift.
I think we're good, and it's on Saturday, though it is sold out.
Yeah. Well, and you've got the Age of Sail covered with Firelock, right?
Yep.
So,
and I look at Warlords Black Seas game, which I have had a blast every time I played that. And then I look at the model that I've been painting for, 3 years now. But, someday when I get this stuff done, I will run a game of that. I can give some insights into what I'm looking to run next year, at least. Obviously I can only speak for myself and my group, which we've now came up with a name. We're going to be the Nerds of War. We have a logo about to come out because, you got to have a group name if you're going to run historical games.
Right?
Lean into it.
Exactly. Soon we'll have a podcast and t-shirts and everything. Just give us a few months. But so I want to build upon this themed idea I had. So next year we're going to have, right now, and this is obviously step one of pre-planning. We do a lot of Cigar Nights, and Cigar Nights we get ideas. And then those ideas get multiplied as the Cigar Night goes on. So that's how our Mark Garden 84 game went from, we'll just do a Team Yankee game to, I can pay 2 regiments of T-64s. That's not a problem. I have a lot of Team Yankee now. So part of our idea is we're looking at, there is a good demand for historical games. There's also a certain thing of, I don't want to spend my entire year painting for Adepticon. Now, strategically, when my group and my buddies, we started doing this stuff, we said, okay, what do we have that we want to paint? And then how can we make that an Adepticon game? Kill a few birds with one stone. And it keeps you motivated on task to get that stuff painted.
Sure.
So that was how we started the Team Yankee thing. And then that went out of control. But I blame COVID for that. So what we're thinking next year, it's a twofold thing of what new games do we want to do and what reruns can we do. Like every year we've ran something totally new. But now we're looking at, okay, what can we run that maybe we ran in the previous year that will help us run more games without just completely crushing our time? And people liked them the last time. Why won't they? They're still going to like them again. So we're looking at bringing back our Chinese Farm Yom Kippur game that was done in The Fate of a Nation. So Battlefront's 15mm rule set. We're looking to bring that back for next year. We're going to do a Mig Alley game next year because we're liking Korea. John Russell's a huge bold action Korea proponent, and the planes look really cool for Blood Red Skies. So we'll probably do kind of a Korea day like that, do a bold action game and a Mig Alley game. We're also going to bring back Gettysburg Day 2 again. Since, hey, sold out this year with a good wait list, let's bring it back. And also, once again, I just painted 300 some Civil War guys. I want to keep using them.
That's right. Get some mileage out of those dudes.
Exactly. And, we're looking at doing Normandy Day. So don't have that fully defined yet, but it will involve Bold Action, Flames of War, and Blood Red Sky. So all the World War II rule sets, we'll try to run a game or two in, have like a big, and I don't want to keep it just on the D-Day lanes themselves. As cool as those boards look, that's not that fun of a game to play. Because you're just kind of running forward, and if you're one side, you're just shooting. Will I have a game like that? Sure, you kind of have to. But I'm going to focus a little more on like Cobra and Goodwood and the breakout parts where we can have some mobile back and forth battles. And then it's kind of my secret big project because I can't, just have a normal size game like a normal human. We're going to do, right now the code name is Thunder Gun Express.
Okay.
So you got to have a code name.
Go on.
So, in BattleTech, the clan invasion ended with the Battle of Tukiad. Catalyst has made a very nice book all about the Battle of Tukiad that has scenarios for every clan, all 7 clans involved. So we're going to run a 7-table event, 4 players per table, 3 different scenarios themed around that clan invasion. And we're basically going to fight out the Battle of Tukiad and see which side wins.
All right.
Interesting.
So that's me painting a couple hundred Comstar mechs right now.
That'll keep you busy for a bit.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like you got anything important coming up now. The next
my
month and a half.
That relevant I'm not really fully. The nice thing is I already had a bunch painted because I like Comstar because I'm the only person in the world that does. But looking at that now is I can just add on to that, and I got a decent strategy for painting white, so it doesn't take me too long.
Good.
That's gonna be more the summer, but we've gotten big into BattleTech. The universe is awesome, and I look at it. It's like BattleTech, Horus Heresy. These are basically historical games.
Yeah, well, we've made that argument on the podcast before that they're all based in history.
Yep.
Very cool. So any final thoughts about Adepticon, or you want to give us your sales pitch to get people in?
We're really excited to be back, not have to worry about the COVID stuff anymore. And I am trying to make this event as good as it can. That's what all of our organizers are doing. We spend our time to make sure that these are good events, people are happy and are taken care of. So, my keyboard just stopped working for a second. Maybe it is my motherboard that's messed up. It's not the camera. But anyway, we really want this to be the best possible event. We want our attendees to have a good experience. So anything that we can help out with that, just let us know. And at the same time, we're always looking for more volunteers to help out. We have Derek is coordinating a more structured system of volunteering. So it'll be less just, hey, I want to help. Well, okay, so-and-so will take you. It's like, no, we're going to have like schedules and things like that. So that way else you're not stuck working a whole ton, but you can, balance everything out. So, we're adapting, we're modernizing. Like you said earlier, we're going back to innovation and development here.
Good deal.
Awesome. Any final thoughts, Marty?
Well, I will be in attendance.
Excellent.
So I will, myself and Chris will be bebopping around, and we will look to you to hook us up with, some of these folks, and we'll look at, what games we got going on, and try to dip in and give our audience a flavor of what's happening there, particularly on the historical side. So I'm looking forward to it very much.
I appreciate hearing that. Yeah, we look forward to having you there, and that's another area. Talking about expansion is, I look at what the Marriott has with like Gold Squadron and all the other podcasts. I'm trying to, really try to expand the podcasting part on the historical side.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Well,
Very cool.
you know, we're going to be there. I think you got Lead Pursuit. That's
Yep.
not only gaming, but we'll be doing some broadcasting as well. And
I know No Dice No Glory is talking about it. I don't know if they're going to do stuff with Lead Pursuit or separate. You know, still kind of working stuff out with them.
sure.
But I mean, hey, if it's you guys and Lead Pursuit, I'm very happy about that. And you know, Tiger Shadow, I see your comment here. I think a lot of that comes with who is the game master of that. It's, you know, and I see it locally. It's obviously we're all buddies. We want to sit around and talk. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, we're here to play a game. It's you need that person to sort of like keep people moving along. Hey, is your turn done? Let's keep moving. Because at the end of the day, this is a social event. If I just want to play a game, I can do it on my computer at home and move at my own pace. So you got to
Right.
balance the social aspect with accomplishing something in the game. And I think that's where the game master comes in to create that balance.
Yeah.
Yeah, your game master, your TO, yeah, 100%. It's got to keep things on track, particularly for those organized play events.
And yes, James, that is the most annoying thing in the world. I mean, yeah. I'm having flashbacks to my job a few months ago. I spend the whole day explaining the same thing over and over again to people. So no, but we're very excited for Adepticon, and I'm actually going to go up to my local game store and play some boarding action here. Have a little bit of fun before I get back to the painting mines.
There you go. All right. Well, we want to thank Mike for joining us and giving us an update on the historical wargaming section at Adepticon. If you guys have never been to
100%.
Adepticon and you love wargaming, you got to go. If you've been before, you definitely want to go back. It is the premier miniature wargaming convention, personally speaking, in the U.S. I know there are others, but I don't think anybody does it as well as Adepticon does it.
I would say in the world, sir. 100%.
Right?
For
my friend
miniature
over in the
tabletop
UK might
gaming.
have a little, you know, we might start another, you know, war between the countries, you know, across the pond. But yeah, it is.
Hey, we're undefeated, so.
Oh, here we go again.
I was gonna say we've been holding our own okay for a couple hundred years, so. Although, not gonna lie, in the 1800s it was sketchy.
Before we destroy international relations, we're
Andrew Jackson, man.
We just definitely want to thank Mike for joining us. For Marty, this is Bill from the Sit Rep Podcast. To all our people who have joined us in the chat, thank you very much.
Yep.
We appreciate everything and your support. And Marty and Chris will see you at Adepticon. I'm still trying to see if I can fly in for the weekend. We'll see. But otherwise, have a great week and enjoy your time. We'll see you soon.
Thank you, everyone.